Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day here. Happy Patch Notes Day. Sorry I didn't get kind of that early video, which I typically do. I just read them yesterday and wasn't overly excited. Now, there is actually a good bit of content. Unfortunately, there's no Bureau projects or legendary tier ships from what I saw. Now, initially, there was actually another ship which they posted in the video, which we're going to go over. But without further ado, let's go ahead and go over the too long, didn't read version here. The Echo of Ionian campaign featuring Soviet Tier 8 premium battleship Navarine, I guess it's pronounced. It looks like Navarin to me, but anyway, new Halloween event and the return of last year's Halloween operation. So new and the return, so potentially two. Maybe they're combining. Not exactly sure. Ominous Waters calendar, Commander Guises, full access to new line of Pan-European destroyers. So basically the Tier 8, I think, if you didn't get the other ships through crates, which the early access line. Always trying to get you to buy some crates there. New British destroyer Druid available for steel, which is still at Tier 8. Return of Racing Legends content. Back in time, honor the end of World War I, Veterans Day, and other historical dates, which I'm actually kind of excited for. I'm not exactly sure how this one's going to work, and if you do know, or maybe I just didn't read it fully, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll actually try to pin that, because things like this and events, PV, if it's a PvE event, or yeah, player versus environment, I think it's going to be awesome. Again, I'm not exactly sure what this is. 2 new seasons of ranked battles, balance, and gameplay changes, which are actually pretty good. There's a lot of new changes, as well as a few improvements and bug fixes. Also, there is a code here. You click on that, and we're actually on the World Warships Legends website. Just click on redeem code there. It logs you into your account, and you get whatever these crates or whatever the little bonuses are. The Navarine here, as we talked about, I think it's going to be a decent ship, as we were talking, on stream about it. The accuracy is certainly lacking, and of course you are a Russian battleship with a massive citadel, so brawling sometimes you have to put yourself in the right positions, especially with your guns on the back. I got caught a few times trying to, give the old broadside maneuver just to get the guns on target, and yeah. So like I said, I think it's going to be fun though. Base range of 7 kilometers with a fully spec'd out build. I think you can get up to 11. So a good Russian brawler, which I think is it goes against the mold, which I'm excited for. Some people are probably not going to like it, some are, but it's different, it's new, it's unique, and it's something that I think you can have a lot of fun with. Which you could say the same about potentially Schroeder and Michelangelo and a few of the other campaigns, but I think this one is going to be better overall than a lot of the previous campaigns. As always, and I had this comment in a live stream recently, if you're newer to the game, the Admiralty backing, and you don't want to spend a lot of money because Wargaming is going to try and get it from you. There's actually something that we're going to talk about in this video. If you're newer to the game and you just, you're getting into it, I think the Admiralty backing is a great way to, excuse me, slowly introduce yourself to the game without spending more than per se $10. Okay, it gets you a lot of these goodies, as well as a Tier 8 ship, which Tier 8 isn't necessarily the best credit tier, but alas, premium ships do give you that little bit of bonus. But anyway, if you're newer to the game, I think the Admiralty backing is a great kind of first step without plunging off of the deep end of whaling at 200 crates. Halloween event Crimson Break here. Embark on a truly sinister journey from October 14th through November 4th. Join a group of daring travelers to save the Crimson Fleet heroes imprisoned by the... Okay, so there's a new Halloween event. We're not going to read all that. Of course, there's a new calendar for Vasilias Rasputine. Yes, I'm sure I pronounced that correctly. If you want this guise, and again, this is not a commander, it's just a guise. It makes your shells a different color and gives you fireworks when you pop your horn, so... yeah, some people are confused by that. It's like, where's my new commander? It's like, no, it just gives you a signal flare, tinted tracers, legendary skill effect, and the voiceovers. So absolutely nothing in terms of gameplay other than visual experience. And here I think they talk about a bunch of different guises. So if you're into that sort of thing, here they are. New Pan-European line. I think they're pretty strong. We already saw a pretty gnarly record from the split there and a few others. So. I think these ships are going to be fun. If you haven't grinded those or got those, make sure you grind them. And, watch out for them. The smoke radar combination is up. I'm not exactly... I don't think the Tier 6 gets the radar, but the 7 and the 8 certainly are going to be something to watch out for, a new destroyer threat. And speaking of new destroyer threats, the Druid, I hope they buffed it. 25,000 steel here. I'm not exactly sure. Hopefully Wargaming gives me a trial, a different trial other than the rental, and they buffed it, because she felt pretty weak in the rental phase. You only have access to AP, and you only have those 2 forward-facing guns. 4 guns total for the Facebook hero over there. 4 barrels total, but 2 mounts on the front there. So you're lacking a little bit in overall firepower. She does get, that the British smokes and sonar, and with access to a few of the new commanders, I think this ship could certainly be a formidable foe, and especially one that, its job is essentially just to hunt down destroyers. So you have one of these on your team, you support him, you can just eliminate those destroyers and have a field day with that game. But I really liked the concept of the ship, and I wanted it to be good and fun, but it just seemed a little bit lackluster in my opinion when I played the few limited games from the rental phase. So hopefully they buff that. But if you have the steel, she is available, or she will be available in the the Forge. I don't know. We've got 18 million different currencies. The racing event is back. Cool for those who care about that. The Von der Tann is. Yeah, so here it is. From November 4th through the 18th, you can participate in new November? Okay. You can participate in a new historical event to commemorate the end of World War I and Veterans Day. Visit the store, of course, to discover that ships participated in historical battles and operations Oklahoma, Texas, Agincourt, Kawachi, G-101, Bellerophon, Warspite, Arizona, Julio Cesare, Vibrator Unitis, South Carolina, Aurora, Oleg, and Arkansas. Complete Silencing Storm mission. So I think it's just missions, and ships in the store will be on discount. So if you're looking for a few of these lower tier ships, there you are. Like I said, I didn't think this was going to be an event, but I like that they're adding these in, because eventually, I believe on PC they had a D-Day event, so hopefully we can, or PvE, player versus environment, so hopefully we can eventually get those in Legends. Battle of Trafalgar mission, Trafalgar. Yeah, I'm bad with my pronunciations here. Okay, this is, I think it's just, Battle of Leyte Gulf. So we should recreate a few of these infamous battles here, or famous rather. Leyte Gulf was, I believe that was the one with the Johnston, or a subset battle of that particular engagement. Ranked battles are back, tiers 5 and 7 tiers 5 and tier 7, so we may do one of those again. Changes to ships and commanders. Buffs to Tulsa, Carnot, Drake, Hajimata, Albemarle, Khabarovsk, Conqueror, and Gearing. Buffs to both buffs and nerfs to Perfect 10. Why? Nerfs to Delaware, Connecticut, and Nebraska. No Louisiana? Interesting. Buffs to Acoustic Chamber, Sponge by the Book. Nerfs to Dance with Death, Gyrating Drill Bits, and Fully Packed. So I think Wargaming is moving in the right direction, at least with a few of these buffs and nerfs. And this, again, it looks like another good update in terms of, balancing changes. On top of that, there's a new ribbon and medal. Starting with this update, you can earn the new assisted ribbon by inflicting any damage, but any amount of damage to an enemy ship within 30 seconds before it sinks. So now there's going to be people stealing the ribbon to get the, and I think this is a direct result of so many Facebook posts. I say this, and it's probably not, but so often you'll see, on Facebook of someone like, they stole my kill, or you'll see someone like, hey, you stole my kill, and it's like, you have no idea of what you're talking about. I know that kills and damage are important to some people, but in the grand scheme of it, but anyway, they've created this, this new ribbon and medal now, and the ribbon, I think they have it in the video, but the medal, I think you have to get like 4 of them. Yeah, additionally, the reward players frequently assist their allies. We've introduced the Helping Hand medal. To get it, you must earn 5 assisted ribbons in 1 battle. So is that like a fake Kraken medal? Because you'd have to get... This ribbon awards you 1/4 of the credits and XP. I wish they would tell us more about the credits and XP earnings, or like what it does. We all know it's different. The more you do, the more you get in terms of credits and XP. For example, damage to ships, caps, defends, spots, damage to multiple different ships, kills, etc. But I wish that there was a layout so we could better inform the player base of ways to help your team other than simply just hunting for damage. But alas, that is a different video, and this one has already been long enough. Speaking of the campaign video, and I'm glad I actually waited to do my kind of review of the patch notes here, the Scharnhorst 43 is of course available for crates. And before we make, I've seen comments already like, I'm so glad I stopped playing. It's like, guys, do you not understand that Wargaming is going to do anything and everything to drain every last dollar from you guys? It is a business, right? Their business is based off of crates and trying to get people to whale ships, right? Like you go to the store and it's like, this is on discount. So as soon as you understand that, you can realize like, okay, I can make my decisions based off of that. But alas, we have a new shiny ship, the Scharnhorst 43, which I actually reviewed, and there's not much difference between that and the regular Scharnhorst, which is at tier 6, but as you can see here, it's actually at tier 7, which I think is good in terms of we're going to be getting some increased potential armor. And what are the actual differences here? The reload. I'm not exactly sure of the differences that will be in Legends, but you can review those specific changes here if you want them on the World of Warships PC wiki. So a 23-second reload of the 283s there. I think it's a little bit more accurate as well. 6.3 secondaries on PC, so not a full. Maybe they'll increase. Hopefully they do the secondaries for Legends, but anyway, hopefully they give us that rental. They give the CCs a rental format of that as well, so we can test her out. And to finish off this already too long of a video here, the Ministry of Balance Trick and Treat. Tulsa gets a little buff. XP record here, XP record holder, still on the Tulsa. I think I haven't checked it in a while. Main battery reload time increased. Detectability range of sea by air, and when firing in smoke reduced. So cool. That's like 1,500 meters there. Carnot. Is that going to make that much of a difference? I'm glad that they're changing a lot of ships. That actually creates a lot of content. But like a 25 to 24 second reload, like what are we doing? I don't know. Hopefully that makes Carnot somewhat worth it. The Carnot is actually really tanky. It's just when you can't hit the target and you have such a long reload, it's like I'm sitting here eating damage without the ability to really do a lot of damage, and that is a play style that a lot of the player base is just, they don't understand, number one. And number two, it's just not fun for the most part. Now, some people, have fun just eating a bunch of damage. But anyway, the Albemarle. And I love this because there was like this discussion such a long time ago. And to be fair, sometimes when you get a ship buff, that doesn't necessarily mean it was bad. It's just that the player base doesn't play it, which I think is the example of the Drake here. But number two, the player base, like they got the Baltimore and the Fletcher buffed, and notably that they probably needed it, but like you look at the Baltimore and it's like, it's such a strong cruiser. How did that ship get buffed? Well, the player base. But I remember this discussion back in the day. It's like the Drake is like the best tier 8 cruiser. It's so strong, and here we are getting it buffed. How often do you see Drakes in battle? If it was so good, why don't we see it as much as the Lucian, the AL Chapiev? Now, of course, it's not overpowered like that. But anyway, a stock little stock hull total health increase from 39,000 to 42,000 for the Albemarle, and a few different. What this is the total HP, right, is reduced. So like when you saturate a particular section of a ship, that section, the bow, for example, let's see, has it had 1,600 damage. Oh, well, this one's actually increased. But when they reduce that, you're just like this, similar to the GK, you are reducing the overall amount of damage that can be done to that section. So like the GK had like, 80,000 or something. I forget exactly what it was of total HP in the superstructure. And when you reduce that, you kind of increase the ship's survivability. You couple that with the heal that you get, and these ships now are, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing them a lot more, but it was just funny because everyone was like, the Drake is so good, and mainly from my island over there in the North Atlantic. But anyway, Gahajimata is actually, that's a good little destroyer there at tier 6. upgraded torpedo speed from 60 to 62 knots, upgraded torpedo range. This ship actually, this one's going to be a pretty dangerous threat there, so we're excited to try that one. Connecticut stock hull reduced, bow reduced. Yeah, these ships were insanely tanky. I'm surprised that they were, the hybrids, of course, when you can get them in a great spot, they are certainly, the guns in combination with your torpedo bombers, or planes rather, can certainly, dish out a lot of damage, and, kind of one and two successive blows there. But I didn't find, these ships completely overpowered, but I'm guessing the beloved spreadsheets are telling a different story. Okay, so, and the Navarin here, repair party consumable duration. So it was buffed a little bit from the rental phase. Did they talk about the Druid at all? No, but anyway, moving on. Perfect 10 and Bulletproof, both buffs and nerfs. If you want to read them here, I will link this article because this video is probably already 20 minutes long already. Legendary Tier. This trio of legendary tier ships were designed in an older style, and I said this so long ago, and here comes another one of Aaron's rants. With increased HP for their hit locations or subsections of the ship, this reduced their survivability to balance them against Tier 7 ships. When legendary tier ships were first released, this is the problem with, it's not a problem, but this is why the Alaska was buffed until it was basically a floating battlecruiser battleship, and then nerfed. When you release ships in an environment of when the legendary tier ships were first released, they were going against tier 7s, and of course they were overpowered, right? That's a 3-tier gap or 4-tier gap almost from the PC layout. Now, of course, they adjusted it to legends. So finally, we got tier 8, but half of those ships, a good portion of their stats and spreadsheets were going against tier 7s. The Des Moines, for example. If you remember when the Des Moines was first released, it was insanely busted. But then they added tier 8, so all of the data points and 15-inch guns that the Des Moines can bounce at tier 7, it never sees those ships anymore, right? Unless you fail division, but that's a different topic. So finally they have adjusted this. Now, I don't think the Kaba necessarily needed this. The Kaba is going to be insanely strong. You're losing almost, not exactly half, but half of your, the saturation damage you can do to that bow, a little bit to the stern there. Now the steering gear, I think I wonder what the steering gear, is that the engine room? But they have to call it steering gear because it doesn't have a citadel. Anyway, Conquer, engine HP reduced, bow HP reduced, casemate reduced. That was, I love to see Conquers in Venezia because this thing has kind of a little less armored than most of the other battleships at the tier, and you just absolutely chunk it. But you can still chunk it, just probably for less now. And then, of course, the gearing. Bow HP reduced, stern HP reduced, and superstructure HP reduced. I didn't know there was that much superstructure health in the gearing, but anyway. Commander skill changes. Acoustic chamber, sonar cooldown time effect improved from -10. Number of sonar changes increased from 111 to 11122. So this might, and what they're trying to do with these is create different styles of play. For the most part, and I'm guilty of this, is most players choose, a lot of these same commander traits and builds. And, notably for me, it's just out of force of habit, and I don't like to experiment too much with my builds. Certain, damage builds can certainly be fun, but a lot of these, like acoustic chamber on destroyers, most people listening to me right now probably don't even know what this trait is. Sponge as well, By the Book and Dance with Death, gyrating drill bits, fully packed, and Commander Gunther Luchen's base trait, Gimlet, increase in cruiser's main gun AP shell damage improved from 0.25 to 0.3 and from 5% to 6% max. I hope that we get Hindenburg soon, because that would be pretty nutty. But yeah, anyway, unique skill, loyalty to the Navy. Increase in cruiser's main battery shell grouping when shooting at destroyers. This has to be like a precursor to Hindenburg, right? why would they add that? I don't know. I feel like because like ships like Hipper and Prince Eugen, or you just don't see those either anymore, despite them being they're not like strong, but they're certainly not weak. You get those 203 millimeter guns with some German quarter pen HE, and those ships can be absolutely nasty. I think I'm going to play that tonight. Anyway, new ribbon and medal starting with this update. Yeah, we already talked about that. So that is all that I have for you guys. Like I said, this video is going to be too long already. So if you've watched to this point, I appreciate you guys. Type in something obnoxious in the comments, and we will pin it. So I love you guys. Have a great, what is today? Thursday? Jesus. The weeks just fly by. Go Bucks. We got the Ducks this weekend. We'll be watching that. Should we watch that on stream? I don't know. You guys let me know. Again, love you guys. Have a great day, man. Spread some positivity. Don't be a piece of shit. I'm out. Peace.